welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I hold card readings twice a week on my channel, Soul Symbols. Today I'm going to be hosting one of the two videos that I hold each week, which is the weekly energy card reading. What I do is I let you choose from one of 3 tarot decks, and then after you choose, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a reading that just kind of gives an overall energy for your week. I definitely hone in on your energy, and then I just read the cards on, to determine what kind of energies are coming through for you. In addition to the weekly card energy reading, I do also hold what I call How to Tarot. I do that on Tuesdays of each week. And in that reading, what I do is I pull one card from the traditional 78 card tarot. We go over the symbolisms, and then we hold a card reading based on that card. So today is the weekly card energies, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let you choose your deck, and in a minute we'll freeze frame and let you pick which tarot deck you want to go with. To clarify your reading, I am going to be using the Soul's Journey lesson cards, and also I'm going to be using an animal deck that you've never seen on the channel before. It's called Animal Allies by Jessica Swift, and the Soul Journey card is by James DeBraw. All of the timestamps and the name of the authors and the decks are in the description box below. If you'd like to jump straight to your reading, please feel free to scroll forward to your timestamp. And in addition, after I read your cards and do the clarifiers, I am going to do something special for the day. And so what I'm going to do is, in addition, I'm going to finish up your reading with some charms. And there's been other readers who have done charms before. I actually take my inspiration from a really great YouTube reader called Charmed Intuition. She has a great video that I'll post below that talks about how to create a charms collection, and she also has wonderful videos. She's always very positive on her channel. She did say in the video on how to start a charms collection, she gave permission to share the video link. So I am just going to share that below because that is where I got my inspiration to add charms to my readings. For each of the decks, so I'll go ahead and get into the deck's description. The first deck that we have, and what I did is I paired stones that were animals, since we haven't done animals in a while, and we are clarifying with an animal deck. So the first deck is the Greer, and with it I paired a rose quartz rabbit. So rose quartz usually means love and abundance and luck. So that's the first deck. The second deck is the Tarot of the Southwest Sacred Tribes, and again I will put the names in the description box below. And with it is a Dalmatian Jasper, a horse. Sorry for the background noise. The last deck is the Linestrider Tarot by Siolo Thompson. And with it, I paired a tiger's eye bear. So I'll go ahead and freeze frame and let you choose your decks, and then we'll go ahead and get started. See you in a minute. Okay, and we are back. So let's go ahead and get started. The first deck is the Rose Quartz Rabbit. This is such a sweet rabbit. I really like it. And the Greer Tarot, which is not my first deck, but the first deck I ever learned the symbolism of tarot. So it's a very special deck for me. So deck number 1, your week. I'm just going to see if there's okay. Normally we only go with 3 cards, but there were several that were kind of sticking out, so we're going to just go with that. All right, and let's do this. Let's go ahead and get your Cool. So we'll do your charms last. Ooh, all right. That was very clear. Okay. Apologize. I hope you can't hear the background. We have a vacuum going, so sorry about that. Make sure you can see. Deck number 1, your energy for the week. Deck number 1's energy for the week. That kangaroo spirit. All right. Now let me do this, and we'll get to your charms in a minute. So deck number 1. Let me go ahead and just look at the energies here. You have a pretty powerful week. The middle of the week had a lot of major arcana, and basically what's happening is the beginning of the week you're going to be kind of on a defensive front. This is the in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, the 9 of Wands is the card that defends. You see the guy who's standing on his hill, and he has 8 wands coming up at him. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is 9. I'm thinking the 7 of Wands. You got the 9 of Wands. This is the guy who's actually come back from the battle. Traditionally, you see the person kind of leaning on their stick with a bandage around their head. And what it is that this is kind of the 9s always precede the 10s. And what it means is it means that you've kind of already been through the war. You've kind of already come out of a battle and you were victorious, but you were just really exhausted. So I think by the beginning of the week, what it's telling me is that there's something in life that's been kind of draining, not in a bad way, but you've really had to stand your ground and kind of fight. And what it is you were victorious, but you kind of paid a penance for it. You kind of, in order to have that victory, you really it took a lot out of you. And it does definitely kind of mean exhaustion. It means that you don't have much energy left, but whatever energy you have remaining, you're using it as defense. So what you're doing is you've come through victorious, but it almost feels like a marginal victory, like you were barely, you barely made it through, and now you're just holding the fort. You're making sure that no one takes away that victory. Now, the beginning of the week does kind of indicate that whatever victory this was, it did take a lot out of you, and you're feeling kind of drained. You don't have much energy left, and it really is kind of indicating that you need to rest. But you are still protecting your ground, so to speak. So whatever, however you won, you're still, you're standing in, defense. You're going to use whatever energy you have remaining to protect what's yours. Then the second, oh gosh, we just got all sorts of, sorry, we have speed demons who like to come up and down our street. In the middle of the week, you got 2 major arcana together, and you got the Hanged Man and you got the Hierophant. So the Hanged Man is, we kind of talked to, this guy kind of came up in the weekly, over last week. But the Hanged Man is, what it is it's someone who's stuck in a situation, but is enlightened by that situation. They are, they understand where they are. He's hung up by one foot. He's kind of, but when you look at his expression, he's not panicked. He's not freaking out. It's not like, okay, look at me, I'm hung up, I need to get down. He's kind of accepting as to where he is. And so that just kind of says that you have a great, you've come through kind of a battle. You know how far you've come, and you're still holding your ground. You're going to defend what's yours. You don't have much energy left. You're exhausted, right? You really need to kind of put the wands down. But you're going to use whatever reserves you have to keep what's yours. But you're very well aware of the situation, and actually by going through what you went through, by going through, by standing this ground, you kind of have a better understanding of either life or just something about, you understand where you are and how you got there. Now, in addition to that, you kind of have the Hierophant. And what this tells me is it kind of tells me that you might be keeping up with the status quo a little bit. I get the feeling like there's expectations of you. There's something that maybe it's a work environment, maybe it's a home environment, or you have a lot of people expecting something from you, and it's really wearing you out. You really have to fight for what you're doing, but you come to an understanding of that expectation. You know what's expected of you, you know what situation you're in, you know what this guy, and basically society, you understand the peer pressure of it. So by the middle of the week, you're going to find yourself that, in a situation, at the beginning of the week, you're really, you've gone to battle and you don't have much energy left, but you understand your situation very well. It's actually bringing you some enlightenment, but you definitely answer to somebody. You have to play by the rules, and you know that you have to play by the rules. Now, by the end of the week, you're going to have, it looks like things are going to kind of ease up. By the time the weekend gets here, you might be kind of celebrating or having some fun with friends. Now, what this means is I also, the King of Wands wanted to come out with the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is really a celebration card. If anything, if you have had, maybe you're in the home stretch of some kind of project, and by the end of the week you can kind of breathe a little bit, maybe celebrate a little bit, say, okay, I made it. It could be as simple as just that it's been a really long week. This week can be a particularly draining one. You had a lot to do. You really kind of had to hold it down and stick to the status quo. Get your duties done. And then by the end of the week, the King of Wands is a very mature energy. He's very fiery, yes, but he's also very mature. So here, by the end of the week, I see you celebrating a little bit. I definitely see you might go out and have a drink with your friends. But I see that it's in a very, I'm seeing this almost in a very, I am seeing it kind of like a victory, like almost like going out for drinks for a job well done. One other way that I can kind of read this is that if you do kind of go out in any type of capacity, you might do it in a very, when I say regal, it's almost kind of like you're keeping a very mature persona. You're keeping a mature persona. I know that's a weird way to describe it, but you're not, I guess the best way I can describe it is that you're not partying like a teenager. You're not partying like a kid. You're not going out and, it isn't like, oh, I had a rough week at work, let me go get, faced over the weekend. It's not like that at all. It's really almost kind of like, I get the feeling like it's almost a mature outing. Like if you were going out with older family members or older mature men. I don't see the emperor, but I definitely see it kind of being like that, almost like if you did a job well done and then you go out and you have a formal drink in a very, kind of formal capacity. That's what I'm kind of seeing. The energy that you're using to celebrate is a very mature one. But that is a nice way to wrap up your week, especially if you were really kind of worn out, if you were really kind of burning the candle at both ends by the beginning of the week, and then you were, kind of in a enlightened phase, you understood what was expected and you stuck it out. Then by the end of the week, you have some well received, and it could just be a real relaxation time. It could just be saying, wow, see, this person handles rods as well, and by the end of the week, it's like you went from 9 rods to 1, and you're the kind of the king of that rod. So you can kind of almost come through the week and say, look at how mature I am, having done my duty and gone through the week. Now, your oracle card is death, and I don't want you to be afraid. There's no bad cards, but I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. And when you think about it, really, there's a lot of red in these cards. The Hierophant, so basically the status quo, the arena in which you must step up is all red. And then the Nine of Wands is actually the last card before the 10. So it can kind of mean the culmination when it says something about being a beginning and an ending. And then it's a, you know, when you look at it, I almost see ending, you know, understanding of where you are, and which is also a death concept because it's transformation, and then beginning. This really, you know, the threes and, you know, the one rod really kind of is like a new phase. So maybe you're celebrating the culmination of a project. One other thing just to make you aware of, you'll hear a lot of people talk about the 11/11 gate, and what that is Monday is Veterans Day. It's a federal holiday for many. Sorry, can you hear me? It's a federal holiday, but 11/11 is I was curious if we'd see the Four of Wands in this reading, but 11/11 is meant to be a very powerful day. It's kind of it's a little bit of an opening of the spiritual world, but it can represent a lot of transformation, and it can represent the conclusion of one project and the beginning of another. And honestly, it kind of looks like you're a soldier and then you come out a king, you know, and I know it's just a weekly energy, but, and again, I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. So maybe that's an understanding as well between the Hanged Man and the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a very spiritual person, and the Hanged Man is a very enlightened person. So maybe something through the middle of the week, you know, maybe you were you know, maybe there were a few things that were wrapping up in your life, you know, either work-wise or relationship-wise, that have really been kind of tough. It really almost felt like a death. It felt like you know, something was pushing you to become something else. And then I think by the end of the week, you're going to feel like you really handled those situations well. I think you're going to feel like you handled them in a mature and proper way, and you're going to be kind of celebrating that. That's the vibe that I got. All right, so I'm just gonna, you got kangaroo, which is great, and I'm just gonna go ahead and read this real quick. Oh my gosh. I like kangaroo. I've gotten him before. And the artwork on this is really, really cool. Here, I'll let you see the kangaroo again. 1 second. Okay, here we go. So, kangaroo. And kangaroo only moves forward, never backward. Call on kangaroo to help you gather your strength and stamina and continue to accomplish what you aim to do. Remember, moving forward continually is all you have to do right now. Let this reminder help you move through situations in life with ease and creativity. Oh, wow. That plays into this so well, guys. You know, it says only move forward, right? It says kangaroos do not move backwards. They just move forwards. And it talks about ease and stamina. And when you think about it, the Nine of Wands is nearly, you know, ease and stamina. He's at the end, right? But he's still holding tough. And then, you know, moving forward and just staying the course. You know, again, this looks really uncomfortable, but he understands. He understands where he is, why he's there, and then, you know, just keep moving forward with great, and honestly, the wands are very creative. So I just think that ties in so well when it says creativity. So that's your advice, guys. Keep going forward. Kangaroos don't move back. I don't know if that's a real attribute of a kangaroo. I've never met one. You know what? I have a lot of friends who are in Australia, I swear. And honestly, if you guys are watching, if you ever want to start a candy exchange program, if you send me cherry ripes, I will send you s'mores. Okay? Call me. All right. Anyway, sorry guys. All right. Deck number 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. And again, if you get a chance to watch the Charmed Intuition Tarot, I love her show. She's so positive. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this box and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw your charms. I'm going to shuffle your charms. So deck number 1. Okay. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so this is what you got, and I'm going to hold it up where you can see it. I'm sorry, I have kind of a velvet lined box so you can see it. It's kind of shifting. All right, but what you got, and here, I'll forgo the box. I think we can do this on the table. Sorry guys, I like it where, you know, as you can tell, I kind of like the suede linings because it helps everything stay really on the same table. Now this oh, this is awesome. First off, you got the shark. You got the shark. If this will focus. Come on, focus please. Focus please. All right, you can't see it, I'm sorry, I'll try to get this to work. But it's a great white shark. And actually there's a great video also on YouTube that talks about how a great white shark has never successfully been kept in captivity. There was one, what it is that they need fresh water, just like any shark. They need fresh water to go through their gills at all times. But I think a lot about what I think of when I see the shark is I think just keep swimming. Keep swimming. And if it's okay for me to link the video, the video is really amazing because it talks about how, as feared as they are, sharks are, they need their freedom. It seems like even if they're put back into the wild, they don't survive after they've been put in captivity. They can have the biggest tank in the world and it doesn't matter. They'll continue to, you know, they'll continue to get sick. It's almost like, you know, the very fact that they have to keep swimming in order to survive. And this kind of, you know, this really plays into it because I see someone who's working really hard and in an uncomfortable situation, but coming out strong. And the wands are very, very independent. They're very strong. And then, so, you know, with the shark, you just keep swimming, okay? Just keep swimming. And then the next thing that you got is you got the star. And this is such a beautiful star. Again, I hope it focuses. Please, please focus. But I'll put it right here. But the star is just like the star in tarot. The star is hope. It's saying just follow your compass, follow your true north, and then you will get where you're meant to be. Now the green, you got the green paper clip, which means it can mean attachment, but it can also mean holding on. And you got a lot of green in your kangaroo too, but I kind of read that as just hang on, hold tight to your goal and just keep going forward because you will get a lot of growth. That's the other thing about green. Now, the funny thing is I have these little magnets, and you talked in your card about kangaroo, about creativity, and look, you got the create magnet. I think that's so great. And what's neat is the back of the magnet is a magnet, and so it attaches to things. And then what you got is you got the owl. And this always kind of looks like a disco ball. And it's funny, when I see the disco ball, what I think of is just keep dancing, or I kind of think rock on, you know, I think of John Travolta. But yeah, just keep on dancing, or, you know what I think of as I think of that song as he's strutting down the street, you know, dun 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 dun. Okay, I'll stop. And then the owl is wisdom. The owl is wisdom. So I do think that you have wisdom. You have a lot of wisdom. The fact in the middle of the week, just keep it in perspective. I really think the owl kind of goes with that. And then you got a charm that I was hoping would come through, and you got the blowfish, and that's so great. I love the blowfish, and let me tell you why. What I think it's telling you is that as you got all this activity going on, make sure to not get stressed out. And let me show you, this is what I think of when I think of the blowfish, and I actually have the bumper sticker, stress blows. Yeah, it does. Okay. So all right, deck number one, you have a great week. Honestly, take care of yourself. Don't get too stressed out. Just keep swimming, you know, follow your true north, do the little strut down the street, you know, keep on dancing. And there's something about creativity. I'm really curious what that creative is. That you seem like a fiery, creative person. So maybe some of the things that you're going through requires kind of a creative streak. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here, and I'm going to put your cards over here. That was fun. I'm glad we got the animal cards today. And here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put your blowfish, and I'm going to put your shark there. Okay? We'll put a few of your charms. I love that blowfish. All right. So deck number 2. you got the Dalmatian Jasper horse. This is one of my favorite horses. And I actually did use this deck the other week, and I liked it so much I really wanted to use it again. So we're going to do it for a weekly energy reading. But you got the Southwest Sacred Tribes. And so deck number 2, what is your weekly energy? Deck number 2. My folks, for deck number 2, what is their weekly energy? Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, seriously, two of coins, King of Swords. This has been a regular. I don't know if I got a repeat watcher. I have a beloved 7 subscribers. I love you guys, but this is coming out. All right. Wow. Okay. Is there anything? Let me see. Let me just see if there's any descriptions for King of Swords. Any description? This has been an ongoing thing. Okay, unfortunately there's way too many cards there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this smaller deck. Is there one card that we really need to know from this? Okay, King of Swords. Let me do the whole deck. I promise you if it's meant to come out, it will. It usually flips out, hits me between the eyes. Seriously, that's how it works. All right. Okay. Not to give us too many cards, but I did want some clarifiers, and it gave us a few more. So, all right. Let's go ahead and get your. Number 2, what is their clarifier for the week? Okay, now you see this, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go with that. Oh, self-esteem. The gemstone animal that guards my deck is a little frog, and he has a little imperfection under his eye, but I don't care. I love him anyway. I actually have a stone owl that I keep at work. He sits up on my ledge, and he only has 1 foot. I call him Lefty the luck owl. I'll share a picture, but he's my guy. He keeps me on the level at work. I have a thing for maimed gemstone animals. I don't know. I love them. They're my menagerie. So, what is deck number 2's animal for the week? Deck number 2. What is your animal? All right. Ooh, you got spider. You got spider. I really like spider. You know, it's funny, when I first started throwing cards, I'm not squeamish about... I'm sorry to jostle the microphone. Can you hear me? Okay. I was a little squeamish about spiders at first. I don't have a flat-out phobia. I know some people do, so if you do, please, you can fast forward over this. But I'll get into that in a minute. But they are positive. I don't like the real scary-looking ones, or the ones that can bite you and do crazy things. But all right, so I'm going to just kind of use this as a clarifier for the week. So for the beginning of the week, you got the 2 of Wands. And this guy is going to make an irregular appearance. We've had the 2 of Wands in just about every single, even the specialty readings. Like, I think he even came up, what did we just do? We did the Hierophant and How to Tarot, and the 2 of Wands showed up in that. What was the other one? Oh, it was in our Dungeons and Dragons read, which is a special read that I do on the 20th of each month, and I did my first one this last weekend. But the 2 of Wands, I've got a whole new appreciation. After doing these readings, I have a whole new appreciation for the 2 of, not the 2 of Wands, the 2 of Pentacles. 2 of Pentacles, now the Pentacles represent things in the physical, material world. So a lot of times it can be money, but it can be other physical things. Like you can have 2 cars, you can have 2 houses, you could have, 2 incomes. A lot of times the Two of Pentacles can mean like a second job. But what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing at the beginning of the week, you are going to be, normally you see the two of Pentacles as juggling. And here you see him holding one of the pentacles and the other one is kind of hovering on the ground. I have a feeling that, I get this feeling like he's not even looking, the guy is looking straight ahead. It's like he's looking towards the future, and but the other pentacle looks like it's close to the ground while he's carrying the remaining one. So I really get the feeling, and again, the deck number one was kind of similar. There might be some kind of project that you've been working on, or it could be that there's just two things that you've been handling. You've had to manage two things, and you've been doing it very well. But I get the feeling like at the beginning of the week, you're getting to the point. You're not quite there yet. Like the pentacle isn't on the ground yet, but it's close, right? I have a feeling that you have a goal of putting down one of these responsibilities. So either one of the responsibilities is starting to wrap up, or you're taking steps, and at the beginning of the week, you're going to be taking steps to get that responsibility to kind of, maybe you did have two jobs and you're just kind of easing down to one, or maybe you had two projects at work and one project is finally coming to conclusion. Maybe there was two fiscal responsibilities at home. Maybe you were paying, you see it sometimes, maybe you were helping a parent by sending them money, and now all of a sudden, they're getting independent. That other pentacle is getting independent, and you don't have to do that anymore. Or maybe you have a child, a teenager. Sorry. I know when I touch my microphone it makes a booming sound. I'm sorry. But so again, maybe you have a child that you've been giving, help, financial help to, and they're starting to, it's starting to ease off and go on their own. Now, by the middle of the week, you got the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords is a real mental guy. He's the planner, right? And he's the mature masculine of thought. And so what it is that, he knows what he's doing. He's a very, very smart guy. He's seen a lot of scenarios. And what I just kind of get the feeling is the fact that he's showing up as, the King Masculine of Air, is that now that this one, pentacle is starting to kind of go away, you're really making plans. And I think what you're doing is you're analyzing. You're analyzing what you need to do. Now, the only danger with the King of Swords, he's not in reverse, so you are manifesting the positive. I think you're doing thought for the right reason. Now, the only thing is that sometimes the King of Swords can be a little aloof, just meaning that, he values reason. He's not going to be emotional about things, and sometimes that comes off as a little cold. But I think what you're doing is, and again, it might seem a little cold to those who are looking from the outside, but what you're doing is you're analyzing your plan. You're saying, okay, what do I want to do next? I have this kind of wrapping up. I have one pentacle left. And by the middle of the week, you're really going to be, heading towards where you need to go. Now, the only other thing about the King of Swords is that there is a little bit of analysis paralysis too, where you can sometimes get so caught up in your head that, you don't take any action. But what I'm seeing here is I'm definitely seeing that you're going to take action. But now the one thing is, by the end of the week, you got the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is the man there. You see all these stacked, vessels. And then you see someone walking away up into the mountains. And what it is I do get the feeling that by the end of the week, you might be walking away from something that you've really emotionally invested in for a long time. Because again, at the beginning of the week, and you can kind of see the expression on his face is not the happiest. It's almost kind of bittersweet, right? He's got one pentacle that he either willingly put down, or it could, I just really get this vibe like, you're not investing anymore in two things. You're going to invest in one thing. And that one thing you think is worth it, but this other thing does also need to be put down. And when you put down one of the physical things, you put down, you let one of them go, it does mean that you are going to be walking away from, something that you've invested in emotionally. It is going to feel like, and this could be, again, when you invest in a project, when you do a project at work, if you've really put a lot of time into it, it might be kind of bittersweet. It might be bittersweet when you walk away because you did put a lot of yourself into it. If it's a job, the same thing. It's like, wow, okay, that was a good run. It doesn't necessarily, and again, it doesn't say that this person's never coming back, but when you actually take the effort to, walk away from eight cups, and again, cups are emotion, it does take a lot of strength, and this person is doing it in a very, they're not putting their heart, they're not putting their emotions into this decision. You see what I mean? To others it might seem a little cutting, but when you think about it, it's like that's sometimes how you have to do things. If you really need to make a decision, if you need to make a solid decision. So that's what I see, is I definitely see that you're going to be making a decision between two things. It could be physical, it could be a relationship, but honestly it looks like a work or a job or something that you kind of have to say, I'm investing financially into one thing. I've got to let the other go. And then you're going to make that decision very decidedly in a very King of Swords kind of way. And again, you can be a woman exuding this energy. And then by the end of the week, you're really going to make that decision and walk. And you might have invested those 8 cups into that other pentacle, but you have to make the decision and you have to make it firmly and stick by it. And what I pulled, and again, just some clarifiers, because this is kind of some heavy energy. It's, and you got some major arcana for the clarifier. You got the 7 of Swords, which is someone who, in the traditional, it's someone who's walking away. And honestly, the 8 of Cups really kind of sees this. Now, normally the 7 of Swords is a little bit of a sneaky card. It's a guy who looks like he's trying to get away and do it clandestinely. I kind of like this 7 of Swords representation a little bit better because he has the 6, there's 2 swords on the ground, he's got 1 in his hand, and then he's got 4 on his back. And he looks very decided. Again, I'm getting a lot of mental, decidedness with this. This is, you've decided to do this. This is the king. He's purposely, walking away. And it's kind of, with this card, it's kind of come at me, bro. It's like, okay, I am walking away. I am making this decision. This decision's done. If you can judge me, go ahead. And behind it, you have the High Priestess and you have the Chariot. And what this tells me is that I don't think that this was an easy decision, but once the decision's made, they're going to stick by it, and that's actually a very masculine thing to do. Okay, if I make a decision, I'm gonna see it through. And the fact that the High Priestess and the Chariot came out with the 7 of Swords, I think what that kind of tells me is that the High Priestess says that you're trusting your intuition, you have a gut feeling that this is the right thing to do. And then the Chariot is traditionally, it's the soldier, it's the who's holding 2 opposing forces. He's holding the opposing of 2 horses that want to go opposite directions, and he's victorious at it. So I think what's happening is the decision that you're making and that you're sticking to, it's going to make you look like you're running, not running away, but it's going to be very clear that you're walking away. But you are going to know that it's the right, in your heart of hearts, it's what you want to do, and you are going to be victorious at it. It's going to feel like you're steering 2 horses that want to go opposite directions. And I do kind of feel like it's your heart and your head. I think it's your heart and your head are the two different horses, but you're going to get both of them on the same page, and you're going to stick to that direction. You're going to stick to the direction that you're going. And so it is a little bit of a heavy week again, and it's a little bit of a heavy week, but and then what we have here is we have self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. So again, I feel like that probably, you know, when you look at this guy, he does look a little uncertain, right? When he was juggling the pentacles, he was not sure. He kind of, maybe he did kind of go with what everybody else wanted him to do. But you gain, I think what it's telling you is you gain self-esteem. You gain self-esteem. You know, I saw a great video about the editor at Vogue magazine, and she said something very, I thought, very prolific. She said the moment that you start looking at what other people are doing and wavering in what you do is when you're going to lose yourself. So I think what it's telling you to do is that when you gain self-esteem, you might be questioning, okay, is this the right thing to do? Am I supposed to be walking away? It kind of makes me look like a jerk. But it makes you look like more of a jerk if you just waffle and make no decision at all. If you stay in limbo, you know, you stay in limbo, that makes you look worse. And you know, if you make a decision, no matter how it makes you look, you know, there comes a time when you really have to just make the decision for yourself, and by sticking to it, you are showing your integrity. So it is going to be a little bit of a heavy week, and again, you know, I do think it's going to be kind of bittersweet. Whatever it is that you are deciding between, you know, if you stick with your decision, I think it will really take you far, and it will make you feel proud of yourself, and you will be victorious. And you know, it might be a little bit hard. You might have moments of feeling a little, you know, again, just a little bit blue. But let me go ahead and read your spider, and we'll get your charms. But spider, creative force, weaving dreams that become reality, a symbol of infinite creative possibilities. Spider teaches that you are the co-creator of your own fate. You get to decide how your story goes. We can be the dreamers, the manifestors. Don't get caught in the web of false beliefs and illusions. Spider reminds you to create and look for new opportunities and points of view. Life is always being woven right now. Pay attention. Be intentional and weave the life, the future that you want. And if you don't pay attention, you might inadvertently weave a life that you never intended. So there you go. I think that really plays into it too, because again, you know, it's your life, right? It's your life. You make the decisions, and as much as you can, you know, you can take the opinions of others into consideration, but you don't want to end up weaving a web that's not your web, right? You know, you definitely, you know, you want your decisions to be yours, and it is, and it's telling you, you know, you have a strong path. Remember, it said you can have the dreams and the destination that you want. All right, guys, let me go ahead and get your charms. Ooh, those flew out. I'll get just a few more. All right. Wow. Oh, gosh. Well, first off, you got the number 5, which means change, and it's one of my favorite numbers. But yeah, you got change, which I think really plays into the 2. You got the bell. And I love the bell because what it is it's meant to ring for service, but it clears the energy. You hear that? I love the way that bells, you know, when they ring, they just kind of resonate and kind of clear the air. And when you see this many swords, I really get that. I get that clearing the air kind of sense. You got the fire horse, which I always read as being a fire sign. Usually I think of the Knight of Wands when I see that. But the fact, you know, it could, you know, the fact that it's a horse and you have the chariot, I really just kind of feel like what that tells me is that you have the power. You have the initiative. Now, this is, here we got we've got what I always think of this as the fig leaf. I know it's hard to see, but you ever see the dove of peace? Whenever, I think it's a fig, but the dove of peace, whenever you see them bring they have a little like sprig in their mouth, and what that is that's a sign of peace. It's like bringing the thing of peace. And then what you have next is one of my favorite charms, and you got the mask. And what this is this is a tribal mask that is used in certain indigenous tribes in Africa. And what it is it's part of the ceremony of transitioning from a boy to a man. And I just think that's so interesting in the fact that you kind of have, you kind of do have this transition here. And again, you can be a woman. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a man, but you see someone who looks almost page-like, with the 2 pentacles. And then you have this decision with the 7 of Swords to, to purposely, move away, to take your swords and go. And then you end up, it's the king's decision that makes this happen. So I do kind of think that that's you growing up, and I also kind of read that as owning your power, right? Now, yeah, I do read that as owning your power, and that's how I interpret it. Now, the only caution that I have with that is that sometimes with it being a mask, it can mean that you're wearing a mask. And especially when you get the 7 of Swords, which is a little bit, the 7 of Swords can be a little bit of a deceptive card. But again, the way that I'm seeing it is that I'm seeing it as you wanting to get away. I feel like this person wants out, and it is their heart's desire, and it will be a challenge. It'll be a challenge, but it's one that they can take on and be victorious with. And by making that change, they are making their dreams come true. But I would also just say, with it being all these air energy, and the fact the King of Swords is also a very truthful person. He does not lie. So that also goes in your favor. If you do have to make any decisions by the end of the week that mean, walking away, I would say just be gentle, the fig leaf, try to be peaceful about it, but also don't mince any words and don't waffle, be clear and just say, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do. But all right, deck number 2, you guys kind of have a powerful week. I really like your bell. A bell can also be, just to throw it out there, it can also be asking for help. It can be, the bell of service. So, all right, so let's go ahead, and deck number 3, we have the bear, and we have the Linestrider Tarot, which is one of my favorite decks. So deck number 3, what is your week? Okay, before we get too far along, I'm gonna put your fig leaf. I'm gonna put 2 of your charms here, the ones that I felt like were speaking to me. Actually, let me put your 5, because that was the one that flew out. There we go. All right. I'll stop hemming and hawing. Sorry, guys. All right, so deck number 3. Deck number 3, what is their week? Deck number 3, what is deck number 3's week? We're getting a lot of flipping cards. All right. Oh my gosh. Wow. We were kind of quiet for several weeks, and now all of a sudden we are just hopping. We'll be hopping. All right. Let me go ahead and get your oracle symbols. Deck number 3. Number 3. What is their oracle card? Deck number 3. Deck number 3. Oh. Okay, now the main one was service, but balance wanted to come out as well. Deck number 3. Oh, that was easy. Oh, you got swan. I like that. All right, and we'll get to your charms in a minute. But deck number 3. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the beginning of your week is going to start off pretty fiery. You got the Knight of Wands. And now the Knight of Wands can be a person or it can be your attitude. And the Knight of Wands is a fiery guy. He's the energy and the spirit. He kind of goes straight into the week or straight into things with a vigor, with a passion. And sometimes it can be, again, the Wands are the ones who go on missions. And, you know, I do get the feeling like it is kind of just your energy. You're just kind of going into the week with a lot of passion, with a lot of energy. Either that or there's something that you have a goal in mind that's making you excited, that's making you want to go forward. And you got, in the middle of the week, you got the Hierophant. And deck number 1 got this in the middle position as well. I got more cards, but you got the Hierophant, which is, it represents the status quo, but it also represents your beliefs. Here I kind of get the feeling like you're going to have, you're going to have just like a really energetic beginning to your week. You're going to feel really excited about something. You're going to feel raring to go. And it's going to be in your realm of, it's going to be in the realm where it could be work, but it could also just be in your sphere of influence. Like it's going to be around people that share the same beliefs as you. So that could be your family, that could be a sports group, it can be, I just really get the feeling like there's something, and again, there's something that you're excited about. So there's something going on next week that's just making you real raring to go. And it's going to make you look good in the eyes of your peer group. So again, that could be at work but it's going to make you look real good. You're going to be excited about whatever you're doing at the beginning of the week, and it's going to make you look real good. You're going to be in good favor with those around you. Now, by the end of the week, you got Judgment, and you got it in reverse. And now the Judgment card it's kind of like the Judgment is having a calling. It's regeneration. It can be coming back. It can mean, coming back from a hard time. But when it's in the reverse, it means that it's either kind of blocked or it's just not manifesting real fast. So I get the feeling like you're really excited to start something. And the fact that we have the 3 of Wands, we have the card that's kind of about waiting for your ships to come in. You see this one stag is kind of looking out in the distance, and the other one's kind of looking around like, okay, what's about to happen, right? What's about to happen? And it's right underneath the fire, the fire knight. And then the Hierophant, you have the 6 of Wands, which again, I get the feeling like you're going to be acknowledged. There's going to be something next week that's just going to make you feel, like maybe it could be that you're waiting for some kind of promotion, or you're just waiting for some kind of project, you've been working hard, you've been putting a lot of energy into something, and by the beginning of the week, you're still going to be working as hard as you always have been, but the results are not going to be coming just yet. But it's almost like you're a little restless. That's the other thing I'm getting. By the beginning of the week, you've been working hard, you've been waiting for something to happen, and you're still going to be waiting, and you're just going to be kind of like, when is it going to get here? When is it going to get here? And then by the middle of the week, again, in the eyes of your peer group or in the eyes of your environment, you're going to have a lot of victory. You see, this is going to be kind of you. Maybe you have some kind of acknowledgement going on. You're going to be acknowledged for how hard you're working, and all of this energy you are putting towards the rules. Like you are doing things according to the rules, even though you are feeling, even though you're fiery about it. Now, by the end of the week, I just get this feeling like, again, I feel like the beginning of the week is kind of playing into it. I have this feeling like you've been putting a lot of energy into something, and you've been following the rules, you've been doing the right thing, but the results are just not coming out just yet the way that you want it, right? It probably just feels like whatever transformation, it feels like you really want to kind of transform, you want to take on a new job, you have a calling, and you want it to get started already, but it's just very slow going. It's the opportunity to completely do what you want to do and do it gung-ho is not manifesting very quickly. And by the end of the week, I just get the feeling like you're going to feel a little bit frustrated. You got the Knight of Swords, who is a very vocal character. He's a guy who just kind of is just like, can we hurry up already? Can we talk about this? Can we just, can we get the show on the road? And here with Judgment, I just feel like there's kind of a block or a delay. And again, we are in a Mercury retrograde time. We're really not going to have any direct motion with that until the 21st. So, if you do feel like you're either trying to get something off the ground, or you're trying to get a fresh start, or I also kind of see like maybe you've just had this calling towards something, and you're just not quite there yet, and you feel like you're doing it the right way. You feel like you're doing it, with 5 stars, but it's just by the end of the week, you're still just not going to see everything coming about the way that you want it to, and it's going to make you a little, I always think of it as a little bit yippy too, not in a bad way. I mean, the Knight's a tough guy. I'm not trying to make him sound like a yappy dog or anything, but what it does is it makes you kind of, it makes you kind of jostle your sword, like, it makes you very vocal, and I know exactly how you feel. I'm a Libra sun sign, and anytime, oh goodness knows, anytime I start to get vocal, it's like, the other thing is it's also very concise. It's like with this energy of the Knight, you're an energetic person, and whenever you have a swords like this, the swords person will lay you out A, B, C through Z, and like, why isn't this happening? This should have happened, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and, we go by checkpoints practically, But what it is kind of telling you, though, is this is a little bit of a word of caution, that, and again, it's kind of clarified by your oracle, is that you got balance, which is I bring a state of perfect harmony to my world, and I do so without judgment. And isn't it kind of funny that it says without judgment, and you got judgment in reverse? And again, the Knight of Swords can be a judgy guy too. Again, remember how I said when you start getting riled up and your mouth starts getting involved, you really kind of want to temper that. So here it's telling you just balance a little bit. Count to 10. Yes, you've been putting in the work. Yes, you deserve to have the outcome that you want. You should have had it yesterday. We understand. And this is something my mom loves to say, and I love this card, but it says, I feel good when I can help others. So again, even though it would make you look real good, it'd make you look real good if you could just go ahead and have that judgment moment. if you are stymied, if you are, if you're in at a standstill at the moment, go ahead and put that energy towards service. Worst case scenario, if you're not getting what you want by the end of the week, try to focus on serving other people. That will still make you look really, really good, because I promise you, if this is a job thing, and even if it's a friend thing, people notice when you're gracious about things. And actually that plays right into your card too, because you got the swan. And the swan is about being graceful. Just about every description I've ever seen of the swan, it has grace in the and the one thing about swans that I think is beautiful is that they always look like they're just gracefully, when you see them in person, you see like they're just gliding over the water, but underneath the surface of the water, they are paddling their little feet like someone's dying, like they are just, and that's what makes them look so graceful, is that underneath the surface they're paddling like crazy, but above the surface they're just gliding, right? And that's grace under pressure. That's like, okay, things aren't going my way, but I'm not going to squawk like a duck, because I'm a swan. I'm gonna handle the situation with grace. I'll try to watch my mouth. Let me go ahead and read Swan just super quick. Seeing your own inner beauty, emotional sensitivity, grace, self-empowerment, self-assuredness, a new healing and transformation is beginning in your life. Accept it. Go with the flow. Trust that the universe has a plan for you. Call on Swan to help you awaken your inner beauty, power, and access your full potential, the possibility that exists for you. The way things are now are not how they will be forever. Don't you love that? The way things are now are not how they're going to be forever. You are not going to be in limbo forever, honey. You don't have to worry about that. And definitely, by the end of the week, you're going to feel like you're in limbo, and you're not going to like it, but grace under pressure, just show your good side. Show your good side, and try, I'm getting this feeling like it tells you to just kind of keep it in balance, focus on service. If you really want to go off on someone verbally, focus on service, focus on serving others just a little bit longer. And then, maybe next week things will start to turn around, because things are turning. Judgment is just a delay. It doesn't mean that it won't happen. All right, let's go ahead and get your charms. Ooh, we got flippers. Oh, wow, you guys got a lot. You got Flipper, literally, the dolphin. Okay. Oh, wow. You got some good stuff here, guys. You got some good stuff. All right. Well, I'm still getting my legs with charms, but I absolutely love it. Let's see here. So, all right. Well, first off, you got the dragonfly, which is one of my favorite things. And the dragonfly just means, it kind of means focusing on truth versus illusion. It also means that you are, that you are elevating to a higher level. It does mean that you are growing. Now, the dragon, and again, this is the luck dragon from but the dragon just kind of means that there are deeper reserves within yourself. And again, I feel like that's kind of like the swan. It's like, deep within yourself, you have great reserves of energy and power. And I think the dragon just means that it wants you to kind of manifest that. Show your good side. Just be dynamic, but you don't have to be intimidating with that. You can definitely just be yourself. Now, the hen or the chicken is funny. I think that song, Pick a Little, Talk a Little. So that, I really do think that plays into the Knight of Swords. Again, I think that it's kind of cautioning you when you feel like going off and pecking the hell out of everyone. Just don't. Just try to rein it in, Now, the rubber ducky is also go with the flow, right? I love the fact that on the card it said go with the flow, because go with the flow is definitely a beautiful sentiment. It's such a, such a beautiful, prolific. And then the seahorse is also similar to that. The seahorse can mean, it means being patient. It kind of means wait and see. Seahorses do not move fast, but they are very abundant. And they're actually kind of more of the wise. For being as small as they are, they're very agile, and they don't, they still get where they're meant, they get where they're meant to go. They get where they're meant to go. And I love that symbolism. Now, the dolphin is a fun one. The dolphins are very intelligent, but they remember how to play. And they remember their intelligence, and they're such a good omen, and they remember how to play. So I definitely think that that's playing into it. The coin, I kind of think of the ace of coins. And I do think that this is the seed of something better to come. And so, again, it's just kind of saying, go with the flow. Don't take things so seriously. Kind of wait and see. And the moment that you feel like you're about to verbally go off, just kind of breathe, rein it in. Don't pick or talk anyone. And, and then just grace under pressure. Definitely try to see the truth in the situation. And then the last thing is the moon, and I do love this charm. You got the moon charm, and basically it has some stars in it too. So it can mean the moon card, where I just get the feeling like not what I think of when I see this charm is that not everything is revealed right now. There are things that you don't see yet. But when the judgment goes into upright, when the judgment comes, and it will, you will have your calling, right? You will have your North Star, and you'll understand what's happening very, very well. But in the meantime, it definitely says wait and see and go with the flow, and definitely search for truth. But definitely just don't get too verbal, don't get too critical in the meantime. I know it's frustrating when you have to wait, but grace under pressure, count to 10. And if you really have to direct your energy towards anything, direct it towards service. If you're having a hard time balancing, just look at how you can help others, and that will be a good way to put your energy to good use. But all right, that was fun, guys. Again, I'm trying to keep these pretty short, but it's tough for me to keep it short just because I love these so much. But what we'll do is, that's the readings for the week. Please feel free to join me next week if you would like. I do these every Saturday just for the weekly energy. Coming up on Tuesday, we have the How to Tarot, and this week is one of my favorites. It's one of everybody's favorites. It's the Lovers. The Lovers, number 6. And I actually have I'm going to have a good time. There was a special set of cards that I had used in the Who's Haunting You video. It was like messages from Divine Masculine, and it's more of a twin flame deck, but it has messages that are so great for just everyday use. So I'm going to pull those cards out, and I'm going to use that in the Lovers. And then I have some special dice that came in that I'm really super excited. So we're going to go over the meaning of the Lovers, and then we'll do just like today, we'll do a choice of 3 decks, and we'll show how the Lovers manifest in your life. But I hope everyone has a good weekend, and please definitely take it easy. On Monday, you have the 11/11. You might be feeling a little bit more energy in the universe that day, but I wish everyone a good week, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.